100%. Oh my God. Thank you. Hold on. Now you lost me there. Welcome back to the Physics Almanac. Today I'm going to be reviewing another physics video. This one's called The Sun Actually Orbits the Earth. I'm very curious about this one. It's by someone, or the channel name is Alex O'Connor, and looking at the picture next to it, I'm pretty sure that's the same guy that's on the screen. So this must be his channel. And actually, I think I know who this guy is. I think he's like a biblical scholar or a theologian or something. I've seen some clips of him before where he's debating Christian apologists or Christian philosophers. So he's like an atheist theologian. I don't know if that's the correct way to, but I don't think he's a physicist as far as I know. He's a biblical scholar, but an atheist biblical scholar. So I'm quite curious to see if he actually gets this right. Based on the title, well, it's not entirely wrong what the title says, but let's see what he says. Before we start, please take a second to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's see why the sun actually orbits the Earth.
I should mention, I did actually recently become a geocentrist because somebody pointed out to me that since all motion is relative and is all observer dependent, it is as arbitrary to set your center point at the sun or at the big black hole.
Yes! 100%! Oh my God! Thank you! He's total... this is fantastic because so many astronomers say... If you watch some previous videos, they'll say things like, oh, the sun doesn't, or the moon doesn't orbit the Earth, or the Earth doesn't orbit the sun. They actually both orbit common center of mass. But that's just a point of view. It's perfectly valid to take the Earth's point of view. It's just as valid as the center of mass point of view, or the sun's point of view, or anyone's point of view. There is no correct point of view in the universe. There's no such thing as absolute motion. If you want to take the sun's point of view, or the Earth's point of view, then relative to the Earth is not moving. Everything else is moving. I actually went over this in the last video with Neil deGrasse Tyson and the one before that. But yeah, perfectly valid. You want to take the Earth's point of view? Fine. You may have some difficulty trying to solve the equations of motion from that point of view, but it's a valid point of view. We usually take the center of mass point of view for mathematical ease. That's why astronomers they kind of forget. They say, oh, everything is orbiting the center of mass. Well, that's just because you picked the center of mass frame because it made your calculations easier. But from the Earth's point of view, it's not moving. Everything else is moving around it. It's not necessarily moving around in a nice, easy mathematical or mathematically described shape. It might be a really complicated shape that eventually gets back around, but it is going around the Earth, assuming it's going around and not just passing by. Great. I mean, the theologian gets it right, and the astronomer and physicists get it wrong. If you saw one of my previous videos, it was by the Texas A&M Physics and Astronomy Department, and they got it wrong. And this guy, who's not a physicist, as far as I know, he studied the Bible. I mean, how often does the biblical scholar get it right and the physicist get it wrong? How often does that happen? Like never in human history. But good job. What was his name? I don't know, Alex something. Good job, Alex.
Of the Milky Way than it is to set it on the Earth. In other words, motion is all observer relevant, and since the Earth is the only place with any observers, it is as metaphysically legitimate to say that we are at the center.
And physically, it's physically legitimate. And he makes a good point. All the observers on Earth. So why not take the Earth's point of view? Well, the reason is mathematically it's quite difficult to compute what's happening from that point of view. And this was actually essentially what Al-Biruni said way back. I think he's the first person I know of to have said that motion is relative. He was criticizing Aristotle, who said the natural state of things is to be at rest. But he was saying, no, motion is relative. And as a result, it seems like, I don't think we know for sure, but it seems like as a result, he said, well, might as well take a geocentric point of view because we're on Earth and we're observing from Earth. That was actually his mistake. But because of that, it's very difficult to figure out, come up with the model that will predict the motion of the planets. Had he said, well, it's arbitrary, so let's take the sun's point of view, he would have been able to, he probably would have figured out the motion of the Earth, or motion of the planets. But his reasoning wasn't flawed. It was perfectly correct. He just didn't know ahead of time that mathematically he was putting himself in a very difficult situation. So that's the problem. He doesn't realize Alex is in the same. I mean, he's joking here, but he's actually right. It's funny because he's joking, but he's sort of half joking. He knows, he said metaphysically, but physically, it's perfectly valid to say the sun or the moon, well, the sun or the moon or the earth or anyone, everyone is at the center of their own universe. Sounds selfish, but it's actually true.
Of the universe than anything else. So geocentrism is back, and the Catholics were right all along, it seems.
Oh, wait, hold on. Now you lost me there. Let's not get carried away here. The Catholics were not right because they said more than the Earth's at the center. They said the Earth's at the center and everything goes around in a perfect uniform circle. Uniform motion, meaning it goes around at a constant speed in a circle. That is wrong. All right? There's no model you can make from the Earth's point of view where that will match what you observe. All right? So from the point of view of the Earth, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see the sun go around in an ellipse, not a circle, and not at uniform motion. It's going faster when it's closer and slower when it's further away. And then you're going to see the planets go around the sun in ellipses. Each ellipse is different and oriented in a slightly different. It's more or less in the same. All the planets are more or less in the same plane, but slightly off. So each planet goes around its own ellipse around the sun, and then the sun goes around an ellipse around the Earth from the Earth's point of view. And that composite motion is what you see, and that causes sort of strange back and slight, sometimes it's moving this way, sometimes it's moving that way. Most of the time it's moving in this one direction, but occasionally it flips around, and it's the speed is hard to predict. So mathematically, that's quite difficult to explain, or difficult to come up with a model mathematically that would be equivalent to that composite motion of two ellipses, one ellipse going around another. So no, the Catholics are not right. Okay, geocentrism is fine, but their model was dead wrong. You lost me at the end there, Alex. Is that the end of the video?
I should mention, I did actually recently.
All right, so that's interesting. I like it's perfectly valid to be at the Earth, or put the Earth at the center. He's 100% right, and I think physicists should say that because a lot of people, even physicists, forget. They're so used to taking the center of mass point of view, they forget that it's perfectly valid to take anyone's point of view, and they end up teaching this stuff unwittingly most of the time, and then the students get the wrong idea. So, yeah, good job. Oh, Alex O'Connor, that's his name. So let me know what you think that's the end of the video, so let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for future physics videos, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can go to my Ko-fi page. There'll be a link to it on your screen, probably right now. It's also, the link's also in the video description, or if you don't want to do that, you can just leave a super thanks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.